Hello, my name is Micah Trujillo, and I am the SAP Business ByDesign Practice Manager at FMT Consultants. I'd like to thank everyone for attending our webinar on the SAP Business ByDesign Overview. Before we start delving into the SAP Business ByDesign product, I wanted to introduce our company, FMT Consultants. And so the question is, who is FMT Consultants? We are a leading provider of a number of different enterprise solutions for our clients. We've been in business since 1995, and we currently have over 200 active clients in the US and Canada. And right now we have over 35 team members in a variety of different disciplines. So the next question is, why FMT Consultants? What can FMT do for your business? I'd mentioned earlier that FMT has been in business for 17 years. So that really speaks to the stability of the company. And over the course of those 17 years, we've completed over 650 projects. All of our solution architects, our developers, our implementation consultants are certified in the different products that they support, one of those being Business ByDesign. All of our employees are W-2 full-time employees. So if we're fortunate enough to win your business and begin a project with you, you can rest assured that the team members that are part of that project are not going to disappear during or after the project. That even after project completion, those same team members, they're going to be around to assist you with any ongoing support, which really takes me to my next point, is our approach. I mean, we're really looking as a company to establish a long-term relationship with our clients. We're not a company who wants to sell you a software package and then wish you good luck and never speak to you again. We want to establish a long-term relationship even after the implementation project is complete. We want to be able to foster that relationship and support your business as it grows. So the other question would be, well, why SAP? If I decide to go with FMT Consultants as my software consulting services company, why would I pick a product from SAP? And my answer to that is they currently are the largest business software company in the world. They've been doing this for over 40 years. SAP is not a company that has a division that focuses on ERP software. They are a company who does ERP software. That's their whole business. So it's not just a small division of their company. It is what they do. And they've got a great deal of intellectual property, experience, and innovation they've developed over the past 40 years. One of the encouraging things to note is that over 75% of their customers are small to mid-sized businesses. So I guess the takeaway from that is SAP is not too big for your business. The other takeaway is the ByDesign product, the very product that we're demonstrating today, is built for small to mid-sized businesses. So it is built and geared towards those type. They had over 14 billion in revenue in the year 2011. So there's a lot of financial strength behind them. They have a great deal of resources to invest in their products. They've already invested 1 billion euros in ByDesign itself. And they're continuing to invest heavily in that product. SAP, one of their most important initiatives is the cloud, and so they're investing very heavily in the cloud, and will continue to do that. And Business ByDesign, being a cloud-based product, will get a lot of that attention. So this is the reason everyone attended, to figure out what is SAP Business ByDesign. SAP Business ByDesign is SAP's cloud-based ERP system. Many of you are probably familiar with the term cloud by now, but let me explain what cloud means to your business. It means that the ByDesign system is hosted by SAP in its data centers. SAP maintains the backups, performs the upgrades, performs ongoing maintenance on the system. So what that means to you as a customer is that you don't have to purchase hardware, you don't have to purchase a server, you don't have to purchase additional software, you don't have to host a server in-house, you don't have to have an IT department maintain that server. SAP takes care of all the IT infrastructure so that all you have to do is focus on running your business. What it also means is that the Business ByDesign product is available on demand through a web browser or through a mobile device. So as long as you have an internet connection, you can access Business ByDesign from your home, you can access it from Starbucks, you can access it while you're on the road, at a hotel room. As long as you have an internet connection, you can access the system. So those of you who are familiar with trying to access one of your company's systems from home or on the road and having to VPN or remote desktop, you don't have to do that any longer with Business by Design. All of that IT overhead that used to make it difficult to connect to a company's internal systems is now gone. All you need is an internet connection. One of the other points that I have here is that it's a fully integrated solution. So there's very few products, ERP products, that are geared towards small, mid-sized businesses that are a fully integrated, comprehensive solution. Many ERP products are focused on a particular industry, they're vertical, they do a good job at addressing a specific business need, but they're not comprehensive. And so what that means is that you can find a really good project management system, but unfortunately it doesn't integrate with your financials very well, or it does very poorly when it comes to financials and figuring out how profitable you're being on your projects. Or you may find a really good manufacturing system, but that manufacturing system doesn't integrate real well with your distribution system. So these are many problems that companies, small to mid-sized companies, are facing, is that they may find good products that do specific things well, but the products aren't comprehensive, they're not fully integrated. So you're having to build different integrations between different solutions. And I'm going to address this here shortly and get into a little more detail what that means. The other point about Business by Design is that it's designed for small and mid-sized companies. SAP was able to leverage the functionality from some of their top tier products and build that into by design. So you're getting really all you would expect from SAP at a mid-market price. And while it is a comprehensive solution and can support most aspects of your business, it really is focused and really does project-based service companies really well. It does product distribution, core financials, and light or outsourced manufacturing. So this is what I kind of talked about earlier, is here's your company, and this slide is meant to demonstrate you're in the middle of two different choices. You have the choice. You're probably, if you're watching this webinar, you're probably considering an ERP package. So, you have the choice of point solutions and spreadsheets, or you have the choice of an integrated solution. And what I mean by point solutions, I like to call them, our silo solutions, or all of these, different individual systems that you need to manage your business. So that may mean I need a project management system, or I need a CRM system. I need an accounting system. I need a requisition system, a requisition management system. I need a system to manage my travel expenses for my employees. I need a system to manage my distribution, my warehouse, my inventory, my manufacturing. So many companies, have had a real hard time finding a good comprehensive solution. So they found themselves, purchasing multiple solutions, and what that really leads to is high costs for the most part. It's very costly to have to purchase and manage multiple systems. Each of those systems typically have licensing costs, consultative services that are associated with each of those individual systems. You have maintenance costs, hardware, software, the cost to your people of managing multiple systems. Many times there's just a lack of transparency. It's hard to combine data from separate, disparate systems. A lot of times people end up buying products just to aggregate the data from different systems. So not only do you have to have multiple systems, but you have to buy a product for the very sole purpose of aggregating the data from all the different systems that you own. And it's just difficult to maintain and upgrade. A lot of times when people have multiple systems, they then have to integrate those systems. So they have to build custom-built integrations. And then when you go to upgrade them, it's just something always breaks when you upgrade. And so you have to maintain not only the systems, but the integrations to all your different systems. So it really becomes difficult to manage these point solutions and spreadsheets. The other choice your company has is an integrated solution. And what does that mean for you? Well, with an integrated solution, lower operating costs. Right? You only need to maintain one product, meaning only one set of licensing. You only need to hire consultants to implement one product. There's only maintenance costs for one solution. You have transparent information, right? You're not having to aggregate data from 10 different systems. You have one system that has all the data in it, and you're able to gather all that data in one place without having to build any type of or purchase an additional product. It really gives you growth in the global economy. When you have one system, it's easier to expand. You're not having to upgrade multiple solutions. You have one system, you can go with that. And a consistent interface for your employees. I mean, it's just easy, it's easier to learn one system than 10 different ones. When you have a consistent interface, if you learn one aspect or one module of the solution, if the UI is consistent, then it's a lot easier to use another module of the system. So that's your company and the two different options that you have as a company when it comes to ERP products. And so the question I have here is, what if no compromises were needed? And I like to call that IT without compromise. What if I could have, this comprehensive solution and that can support my business? And so this slide talks to that. So, SAP Business ByDesign is the complete cloud-based solution. It's comprehensive. So you run your entire business with a single solution. We're going to talk to how it's adaptable, so you can configure it to meet your needs. You don't have to implement everything at one time. So if you only wanted to use the financial management and the project management capabilities, and then maybe later on you want to, implement the CRM capabilities, you can do that. You can scope in just the modules that you need, and then when you're ready to, implement CRM, for example, you can, create a change project and scope that in when you're ready. So you don't have to implement everything at once. You're able to adapt it to where your company's at. It's insightful, and you can use the integrated analytics. You gain real-time insight. You don't have to wait for batch processes to run. The data is real-time. It's easy to use, as I'd mentioned, and it's affordable. It's a subscription-based pricing, so you know what you're paying every month. There's not going to be any hidden costs related to, oh no, now I have to do an upgrade. I forgot that I had this, thousands of dollars to do an upgrade. Everything's concluded in that subscription. Throughout this presentation, I've been talking about how Business ByDesign is this complete and fully integrated cloud-based solution. I've spoken about a couple of the modules, but I want to go into a little more detail regarding each of them. So we're going to start with the financial management module. And so what you can do is you can manage your accounts payable, your accounts receivable. It has cash management along with cash forecasting. You can manage your fixed assets. There's also requisition management, so employees can create requisitions, and those requisitions can go through an approval process. Once approved, they create purchase requests for your buyers. There is human resources management. You can create your employees and enter information on your employees. There is expense tracking, so employees can enter expense reports, and those expense reports can be routed through an approval process. There's project management functionality, so within that you can create project plans, phases, tasks, milestones. You can manage resources assigned to projects. You can see how utilized your resources are and see whether you need to hire additional resources, as well as schedule your resources on specific projects or specific tasks. Your employees can perform timesheet and expense report entry on those projects. And during this time, there's direct integration to a project accounting. So as your employees are entering their timesheets and expense reports, there's a financial effect taking place. Journal entries are being posted, customer invoices are being sent out, your reports are being updated, so you can see how profitable you're being on your projects. You can see your budget versus actual reports being updated automatically. So all of that project management and project accounting functionality is fully integrated. There's also within the solution supplier management functionality. So you have the ability to manage all your suppliers. You can manage your supplier pricing. If you purchase from multiple suppliers, you can create sourcing rules that say, I'm going to purchase, if I purchase this amount, I purchase from this supplier. If I'm less than that amount, I purchase from this other supplier. You can also create purchase orders. You can receive those purchase orders, and once you receive them, creates an invoice request, a supplier invoice request for accounting. There is also manufacturing and distribution capabilities. On the distribution side, it supports the full order to invoice lifecycle. It has warehouse and inventory management. You're able to pick, pack, ship your products, multi-location, multi-warehouse, bin level, lot and serial tracking. On the manufacturing side, it's geared more towards a make-to-stock environment. You're able to create production orders, receive those production orders into stock, deliver those products from stock. More geared towards having standardized products with predefined variations. It also can support outsourced manufacturing. There's some quality control functionality. So as you receive your products, they can go through QA. And there's also some strong MRP and demand planning functionality, allowing you to create forecasts for your products and run MRP against those forecasts. There is a built-in CRM solution into the product, so your sales and marketing people can create marketing campaigns, they can create leads, opportunities, transfer those opportunities to quotes, and then those quotes can then be transferred to an order or an invoice. And there's also a service and support module that allows you to create service tickets that are related to products that are under warranty. You could also create contracts for those products. One of the other features I want to talk about is the ability for Business ByDesign to perform localization. I mean, we all know that we're in a global economy now, that there's no longer geographical bounds to business. Many businesses have subsidiaries in multiple countries, and this poses many challenges. And there are a lot of ERP products out there that claim, yes, we can do localization, and what that typically means to them is that they can offer currency support and there's some language support. But when SAP says it can do localization, that's not solely what they're talking about. They also say we can do functional localization. So the Business ByDesign product adapts to the legal requirements and the best business practices of the country. There's internationalization, so you can support Unicode along with currency and time zone and calendar support. And then you can see all the different languages that the Business ByDesign application supports and the different countries that have been localized. And SAP continues to add to that number quite frequently. The solution, one of the components that I'd mentioned, is adaptable. So you have some capabilities within the system without doing any type of custom development to extend it. So what I mean by that is you can add user-defined fields to the user interface. So if there's a particular field or a particular piece of information that's specific to your industry or to your company that's not out of the box, you're able to add that to the UI and also add that piece of information to different reports. And if there happens to be some custom development that needs to be performed, the Business ByDesign product also has an SDK kit that's built on Microsoft Visual Studio. So it does have the ability to do custom development on the solution. We all know the world is going mobile. PC sales have been on a decline. There's been this rapid advancement of mobile devices, and the Business ByDesign system can support this advancement of mobile devices. It has an iPhone, an iPad, an Android app, and these apps can do everything from taking a picture of a receipt and creating an expense report from that receipt to, if you're a salesperson being on the road, being able to pull open your sales contacts that are stored within ByDesign, or look at the sales pipeline, or pull open a list of your opportunities. If you're an executive, there's a application designed specifically for reporting, so you can see all the key performance indicators of your company. You can see dashboards and all the reports that are stored within the system. So the Business ByDesign system is prepared to support this mobile advancement. Some of the integrated analytics that are part of the system, the reports that are in ByDesign are very intuitive. They function very much like a pivot table. So if you've used pivot tables in Excel, you'll catch on really quick. They're actionable, meaning that you can actually drill down into the reports, and you can look at, if I look at, oh wow, my office expenses look really high. What's making up my office expenses for this period? You can drill down and you can see a list of all the supplier invoices that have driven your office expenses so high. So that's an example of actionable, being able to drill into the numbers. It's real-time information, so there's no lag, there's no batch processing that needs to take place. It's live data. As soon as you post a transaction, it reflects immediately in the numbers in the system, where you can then run your reports. And one of the tools that everybody loves to use in accounting is Microsoft Excel, right? And so it's got an Excel add-in that we'll take a look at here later, that connects directly to ByDesign, so you can have your data in Excel, that refreshing live data, and connect directly to Business ByDesign. Enhanced usability. It's got a really clean user interface, easy to learn. The user interface is consistent across all the modules. So like I said, if an employee can learn one module, it's very easy to learn another module. And the user interface is also configurable to a user's preferences. So every user can configure their home page, and they can also configure some of the views that they're looking at. So this takes us to our product demonstration. and I'm going to go into Business by Design and give you an idea of what it looks like. So this is what the Business by Design application looks like. When you first log in, it takes you to a home page, and that's where I'm at right now. As you can see, I'm at the home page. And within that home page, this is where you kind of customize what this looks like. I've got a list of all my to-do tasks right here. So this kind of speaks to some of the workflow capabilities into the system, different notifications and alerts and tasks that have been assigned to me. I have some priority reports, or some of my favorite reports that I can go to with one click. And I've got a dashboard here that shows the sales order volume, based on the different product categories or product lines, many people call them in the system. And I can hover over and I can see that my consumer products product line is generating over $1 million for me since last year. And then here's just another somewhat of a dashboard that shows my product categories and more of a hierarchy, and shows my profitability, so my revenue and my cost of goods sold and my profitability per product category. So just an example of how you can configure the home page to your liking. Just a couple different navigation things. We got work centers that are called work centers up here at top. So I'm going to scroll here to the very left. But if you are a salesperson, you would probably be hanging out over here in the new business work center. And as I hover over these different work centers, there's functionality behind that. So as a salesperson, I'll be managing my leads and my opportunities, maybe entering some new contacts or new customer accounts, and possibly creating some sales quote, as well as maybe looking at some different reports like my opportunity pipeline. As maybe a CSR, I would be entering sales orders and returns, and as an accountant, I would probably be hanging out in the customer invoicing work center, and be managing, if I'm a professional services company, any of my project-based invoices or any type of invoice requests that are coming in. If I'm a distribution company, as the products are shipped, they'll show up here as an invoice request. So again, different work centers that kind of segregate the duties between your different employees. And so they're designed specifically for the different roles that are within your organization. I also have the ability to add shortcuts. So if I'm a person who doesn't like to navigate to these different work centers throughout the day, I can add everything to my shortcuts, and I can have access to all the windows that I access throughout the day here in one location. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk through a real simple kind of order to invoice scenario. This is something that most people are familiar with. I put an order in the system. Once I put that order into the system, that order then gets, if you're a product services or a product distribution company, that order then gets picked, packed, and shipped to a customer. If you're a professional services company, you set up a project, and kind of book time against that and complete your deliverable, and then it would be invoiced. But whether you're a services company or a product distribution company, most people are familiar with this idea of starting out with an order and it getting transferred to an invoice. So we'll start there. As you can see, I use my shortcut feature here to open up a new sales order. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start typing in the customer name. And as I type in the name, it pulls open any customers that it finds relevant. Once I pick the customer, it starts to populate any information assigned to that particular record. So the company's default address, their primary contact. It finds a salesperson who's associated with that customer account. I can then put in like an external reference, which is synonymous with a PO number. So maybe PO 123. That's the customer's PO number. This is the order date, and then when do they request the product? So right now they're requesting it in 2 days, on the 16th here. My payment terms will show up, and I can start actually adding the different products that the customer is ordering. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing in the product ID, and as I do that, it starts filtering down the list, and I'm going to sell them here a heater. As I put that product on, it will pull in the default price, so you have the ability to set up different price lists in the system, and you can have customer-specific pricing, you can have product-specific pricing, you can have different price scales, so if they order a certain amount, they get a discount. In this case, this is just a plain discount that's associated with this customer. This customer gets a 3% discount on anything they order, and it automatically calculates that. There is an ATP indicator, as you may have noticed. This is telling me whether this product can be delivered, whether it's going to be a late delivery, or whether we're out of stock. In this case, it gives me a warning sign indicating that while the product is in stock, the earliest that we can deliver is the 21st. So we can't meet the customer's 16th requested date. But you'll notice if I go ahead and I update that date, let's say to the 21st, the ATP indicator turns green, telling me that yes, we have this product in stock and we can fulfill it by the customer's requested date. All right. So I can go ahead and add additional products if I'd like. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to stay with this one product. I then can release the order, and I can actually send an order confirmation to the account. So ByDesign has the ability to either kind of the traditional way of printing the order through a PDF, or if you'd like, you can actually email a PDF copy of the order confirmation to your customers. So what you would do is you would just set up the default email address associated with that customer, and when I send the order confirmation, it actually sends and emails the customer order automatically. So as I've submitted that, it tells me that I've submitted it successfully and that it was sent to the customer. Right? So once the order is released, it then goes into a queue. All right. So there's a delivery due list, and this is any open order that can be shipped. The system automatically figures out, based on the ATP that we just saw, whether this product can be shipped to a customer. Now there's a couple different ways you can handle this in Business ByDesign. If you're a company who has thousands of orders, hundreds to thousands of orders, and simply can't manage this, or maybe you don't want to manage it manually, there is the ability to set up automatic processes that run however often you want them to run, and they look at all your open orders and they evaluate, can this list of open orders ship? So, and you can also base it on different priorities. So based on the delivery priority, is this a high priority delivery that this customer needs immediately? You can base it on the requested date, so first come, first serve, in other words. So you can base it on the different delivery rules that are in the system. So there's multiple things you can base it on. But you can set up this automatic process. It will evaluate all your open orders, and then as it finds things that can be released to the warehouse, it will automatically release them and notify the warehouse that you can ship these orders. In this case, we have one order in the system, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just release this order. But the nice thing about this, like I mentioned, is that it creates a queue for either a CSR or some sort of supply planner or customer service planner to look at this queue, evaluate it and say, okay, which orders do I want to release to my warehouse? This means that there doesn't have to be any type of direct communication with the warehouse. You don't have to have somebody be calling the warehouse or emailing them a PDF of what needs to be shipped. They get automatic notifications based on what you release here. So it really limits the communication that's needed and saves time. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to release this order to the warehouse. And so once I've clicked that release, it now has notified the warehouse that this particular order can be shipped. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to the list of delivery proposals. So this is what the warehouse would see come in. Now you can make this process as simple or as complex as your business needs. You can have this, you can create warehouse requests and warehouse tasks, and this really speaks to the warehouse management capabilities of the system. With that said, you can have different queues, and if you have different pickers in your warehouse, you can have, you can assign certain customers or certain orders to those pickers. They go out, they can pick, pack, and ship the product. But this is where it would show up in delivery proposals, and you can have it skip different steps, or you can have it, create multiple steps throughout this process. We're going to keep it real simple here. It shows up in the picker's queue. They see the order come in. They're going to go ahead and post this order and save it and release it to the customer account. So once they do that, they identify that, yes, I do have one in stock and I can ship it from this particular location in the warehouse, fulfilling this customer order 1677. I'll go ahead and release that order. And kind of with this said, if you are a product distribution companies, there are some integration points to UPS and all the different major carriers, FedEx. So there are some of those as well. So once, as the warehouse personnel, once I release this, it now goes to accounting. So I've notified that I've shipped this, I've picked it, I've printed my packing slip, I've shipped it. Once that happens, accounting is then notified that an invoice needs to be generated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shortcuts again. I'm going to go to the Customer Invoice Request Work Center. So you can now see that I'm in this Work Center Customer Invoicing. And so all accounting needs to do is go into their invoice request queue, and they'll see that, look, I've got 5 different invoices that need to be addressed. This is the one that we just performed. You can see associated with sales order 1677. I now need to invoice this particular order. So accounting would click invoice. They would review the information associated with the invoice, and they would go ahead and release it. And once accounting releases that invoice, it posts it to the account and it creates a receivable. And then, accounts receivable can then manage the aging and make sure that they're getting paid for that product that was shipped. So that's just a real quick, walkthrough from all the way from, put an order in the system. That order was then reviewed by a supply planner who released it to the warehouse. The warehouse personnel, they picked, packed, shipped it, posted it, and accounting was then notified that it needed to be invoiced. Accounting just invoiced it, and that just kind of speaks to the different workflow capabilities within the system right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take us back to our home page and talk to some of the analytics, some of the reporting behind what's taking place. So I know I'd mentioned earlier I was taking a look at this sales order volume report, but let's go ahead and let's go to the reporting engine behind this report and take a look at it. All right. So the report that we were looking at was this report right here that we were just looking at within that dashboard. All right. And so what you can do as anybody can do this doesn't take any special programming or coding of any sense. There's no coding that needs to be done within these reports. It's all drag and drop. It's just picking different filters. I had mentioned earlier that it functions very much like a pivot table. I think that you can see that you got your rows, your columns, different filters. And so you can save your own predefined reports in the system. An example here is I can take a look and say, well, right now I'm looking at my total sales by product category. Maybe I want to take a look at my total sales by customer account. Just by clicking that different view, I can now see these are all my customers, and here's my total sales for each particular account. Maybe I want to look at it by product. So instead of looking at it by account, I can go and I can look at it by product. And then maybe, now I'll show you, well, maybe I want to look at it by customer and product. So I want to see what my customers are purchasing. So I was able to just expand out everything that's currently not being shown in the report. And then it's just drag and drop. So I can take the account member, drag it up, and now it shows me a list of all my customers and what the different types of products they're purchasing. All right. From there, what I can do is I can say, I want to see a list of not just my customers and the products, but I want to look at all the different orders that all these products are on. So I move the orders in, and I can just drag and drop that order. And now I'm looking at my customer and then all the different sales orders and all the products that were ordered on those different orders. Right? So I can take a look at, this is a pretty high particular order right here. I can go ahead and select that order, and then I have the ability to drill into that order. So I had mentioned before that some of these drill down capabilities, well, here's just one example of the ability to do that. And when I click in and I'm able to drill into a specific order, I can look at additional information for that particular order. So what it's doing right now is I click the more information button, so it's loading some additional information here. And once that pops up, we'll be able to see the history of this order. So we can see here I started off with an order. I didn't have anything in stock, so I had to create a purchase order and associate it with that sales order. So a sales order to purchase order link right here. Once I was able to purchase the item, I was able to ship it on this outbound delivery. You can see that it was an invoice on this particular customer invoice. From here, I can look at the PDF of that invoice. I also have the ability to drill directly into the journal entry associated with that invoice. And then there was a payment made for that particular invoice, or maybe multiple payments. You can see in this case there was multiple payments made to that invoice. So you see the full, the document flow that took place. I started off just looking at the order. I drilled into the order, and I can see the history associated with that order. It went from an order associated to a purchase order, was shipped, invoiced, and paid. And I can look at any of the different documents throughout that document flow. So I'll close this, go back to my home page, and one of the report I want to take a look at is this profit overview by key figure. And what this report demonstrates is the ability to have a product category hierarchy. Again, I'd mentioned some businesses call this product lines. Business by Design calls it product category. But what you can do is you have the ability to set up different product categories. And then I can assign these product categories to my individual products. And as I sell them, it aggregates the numbers. And so I can see that all the heaters that I've sold are producing some pretty good revenue for me, along with the different electronical parts. And I can see the costs associated with those. And I can see here that this cylinder is actually costing me a lot of money, but I haven't actually have any revenue, so maybe I haven't actually invoiced my customers, so I need to do that. But I can see the gross profit on my sales as well. I can see this for all of my different product lines right here. And so it gives you some really good profitability reporting, letting you know that what the revenue and the costs associated with all your different products and how profitable you're being on each of those products. One of the last things I wanted to take a look at was the Excel add-in. So I'm going to go ahead and pull open Excel. And as you can see, there is an SAP Business ByDesign Excel add-in with the solution. So all you need to do is you would log in, you would install the SAP Business ByDesign Excel add-in. It comes free with your Business ByDesign subscription. And what you do is you just log in, you put your credentials in the system, and then you have access to all the same reports that we were just looking at within the system. This is the profit overview report we were just looking at. Here's that boiler and services we were taking a look at. And you just insert these reports into different Excel spreadsheets, and you can look at the data live. So as I'm looking at this, I can go ahead and I can refresh my data, and it pulls my live data. I can pick different views, so I can switch the views. I can say I want to see it instead of by product category, I want to see it by account or by product. I can look at different selections, so maybe I want to look at year-to-date instead of last year-to-date. And I can also have the charting capabilities. So, using the Excel charting capabilities, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this chart. I can go ahead and I can insert a chart just that easy. Again, none of this takes any type of sophisticated knowledge or programming. Most users could handle this. And there we go. I have a chart of live data, and this chart will constantly refresh as the data gets refreshed, as I open this Excel workbook every time or click the refresh button. All right. So this gives me some pretty good insight. I can see what the revenue associated with each of my products as well as the cost, and I can see that while my revenue from my boilers is really high, my gross profit actually is less than my services. So my services is a little more profitable than the boilers that I'm selling here. All right. So one of the nice things you can do is you can have different tabs, and on each tab I can have different reports, and so I could have a kind of a month-end reporting package for myself or a weekly reporting package, and I can really line all the different reports and all the different tabs here on the very bottom. And like I said, I can have different charts associated with that, and I'm looking at live data all the time. So for those of you who love Excel and who can't live without Excel, you don't have to live without Excel. You can connect directly to Business ByDesign through the ByDesign add-in. So that completes the product demonstration portion of the presentation, and we are now going to transition into cloud security. So one of the most sensitive subjects when it comes to cloud-based technology is security. People want to know, where is my data and who has access to it. People are under the impression that if they can't see the physical servers that their data is residing on, that it's out there and can be accessed by others, and it is not as secure as it would be within your own personal data center or your own personal servers. What we can say with confidence is that SAP has world-class Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers. They have the highest compliance standards, and that your data is kept within the same jurisdiction. So if you do work for the military and that data cannot leave the United States, the data will not. It stays within the same jurisdiction. So that is a concern, security, a very legitimate concern, but what we can say with confidence is that SAP maintains the highest compliance standards when it comes to your data. So we've talked about a lot of the core functionality that you receive with the Business ByDesign system, but I wanted to point out some other benefits that you receive through your subscription. There's 3 different things. There's on-demand education and training and integrated customer support and service. So for on-demand, you can be assured that you always have the latest software version. And what that means for you is that you always have the latest and greatest functionality and features. You don't have to be worried that you're missing out because you haven't been able to perform an upgrade, or you don't have money in the budget to perform an upgrade. All the upgrades are included in your subscription cost, and therefore you have the latest software version and the latest features. Another benefit is the education and training. The SAP system comes with video tutorials that are based on some of the key features in the system. There's also help materials throughout the system that you can use, and if you can't find your answer through the help materials or through the video tutorials, there is a discussion forum that customers have access to where you can post questions and see other questions other users have posted. And those forums are monitored by Business by Design experts who periodically review those forums and answer questions that are posted. And if you can't get your questions answered through the forums or the help material, there is 24/7 support that comes with your subscription at no additional cost. And you can open up a support ticket and have a support engineer assist you with any requests that you may have. So up to this point, everything sounds good. You're ready to move forward. But the last and most important question is, what is this going to cost me? All right. So the pricing model for SAP Business ByDesign is subscription-based. It's licensed through monthly subscription fees that are calculated on a named user basis. These fees include your software system maintenance, your backup, any recovery, periodic upgrades. As I mentioned just previously, the 24/7 cloud support, as well as the education and training materials that are within the system. The different types of users that are available are a self-service user, a team user, and an enterprise user. So those are the three main types of user, and depending on the type of user, there's a different cost associated with that. So your self-service users, those are your users that, your light users, they're the ones who are simply entering their timesheet or creating an expense report or creating a requisition. Right, has some sort of shopping cart and needs to purchase something and it go through a routing process. Those are your self-service users, or maybe your warehouse personnel that all they're doing is shipping and receiving material or products. Those would be an example of the different self-service users in the system. There's also a team user, and that team user is specific to CRM. So these are your salespeople who would be entering leads, opportunities, quotes, who would be entering contacts, new customer accounts. That's what your CRM team user looks like. And then lastly, there's your enterprise user. And so you have a standard or an SCM, which is supply chain management. So your standard users are your accountants typically. They're the ones who have access to all of the accounting functionality. And then your supply chain users or you also could call them a power user, have access to all the features in the system along with all the supply chain management setup. So there's your cost breakdown, and you can see again named user basis calculated through monthly subscriptions for each of these individual users. So throughout this demonstration, I've been able to introduce you to what Business by Design is. We've talked to the complete and fully integrated solution. I was able to perform a product demonstration, and then we talked about some security, the pricing model, and now we're at the point where you have the opportunity to explore the solution. You can go to our website at fmpconsultants.com, and we have an SAP Business by Design page where you can gather more information. You can also go to SAP's website where they have a by design page. You also get the chance to evaluate the product. We can set up a test drive. What that means is that you can request a test drive from us and we will send you a link. You can click that link and it will take you to an actual SAP Business by Design system where you can put your hands on it. You can put transactions in, you can set up records. It gives you a chance to experience the solution for yourself and see if it appears to be a good fit for your business. We have come to the end of our webinar. If you would like to contact us for additional information, you can see the phone number on the screen or go to our website at fmpconsultants.com. If you would like a demonstration that is specific to your business requirements, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you everyone for attending the SAP Business by Design Overview webinar, and have a great day.